Hello there, everybody. Welcome to day 1 of our Magic of the Moon Phases 3-day mini class here with the Sisters Enchanted. So first things first, if you're watching this live, it says live on the screen. If it doesn't say live, then you know it's the replay, which is totally cool. You can still ask questions and leave comments. Just know I won't answer you in the moment. So hello. If anybody's here, I think Nikki's here. Nikki, if somebody wants to pop me a comment so I can see my comments are working. They were earlier today, but they weren't yesterday. So if I don't see comments. So, hey, Katie, perfect. I have to bust out another device. Facebook does that to me now and then. Oh, the Sisters Enchanted is here. Nikki, I wonder if I was just trying to switch myself to the Sisters Enchanted and it wouldn't let me. So I wonder if there's if it's because you are, which is totally fine. It doesn't like that. It's neither here nor there. But that's funny seeing that. So welcome to the Magic of the Moon Phases. For all of you who are new here, there's so many new Enchanted Sisters here in our community. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Sarah. I am one of the founders of the Sisters Enchanted. And here at the Sisters Enchanted, it is our mission to make magic mainstream and create community so that Enchanted Sisters from all over the world can come together and make some magic in their lives. So we talk about all kinds of fun stuff here at the Sisters Enchanted. And I'm your head magic maker, your magical cruise director, and I'm here to answer your questions and teach you some fun stuff. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Some things to know about me and kind of how I present information. If you are new here, hello everybody. So I really don't believe that there is a one-size-fits-all answer to anything in the mystical, magical world. I have been practicing different kinds of witchcraft sort of things since I was a teenager, which was some years ago now. Thanks, Adelina. Some of you saw me earlier on a chat in another group, and we had to do that one from my dining living area because my office place is such a mess that this is nice, but everything around me is such a mess. I couldn't fathom bringing a guest in here. So I need to clean it up. Anywho, I have been into the world of magic making since I was a teenager. I spent my lunch money buying Silver Ravenwolf books, tarot cards, and all of that good stuff. I was making magic back when it wasn't cool to make magic. When I was the weird kid at school, and skirted on the outskirts of all the different groups, right? Didn't really fit in anywhere. That would be why. And now, fast forward to 2018, it's super cool to be a witch. So, that's a good thing, I think. But anywho, that's a little bit about me. So Chantal says, me too. Yeah. Wasn't cool when I was a kid. It's cool now. Because there's a time and place for everybody. So that's a little bit about me. I have 2 small kids, a newly 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I live on the East Coast of the U.S. and right near the ocean, which I love, and also near trees and woods. So I'm in a really cool place where I can be in the woods or in the ocean, anytime, and I'm pretty pumped about that. So that's some information about me. My real life sister Anna is one of the other sisters behind the Sisters Enchanted. We also have a fabulous magic maker, Nikki, who is here in the comments, I think, right now. She might be here or having to head off to her muggle job. We have a fabulous community support magic maker, Enchanted support, I forget what we're calling her, but Nikki is her name, and you might see her around helping you out in emails and with questions if you need anything along the way over the next few days or whenever from us here at the Sisters Enchanted. She's answering questions and helping us out. So, yeah, I think that's, Nikki's here. She's the Sisters Enchanted in the comments. She says, no muggle job today. Awesome. So she's just here for us. Hey, Jessica from Syracuse. So I am not too far from you, Jessica, a couple hours. I am on the shoreline of Connecticut. So let's get to it. We're here for the Magic of the Moon Phases. Today, tomorrow, and Thursday at noon, we are going to talk about this. Tomorrow, I might pop on. Sorry about that. I got interrupted with a phone call. Tomorrow I might pop on a few minutes early, but it's okay. We won't dive into all the good stuff till noon. And you're going to get emails each day with a printable for you. After I get off this chat today, I will post something in the group for a participation thread. So I'll give you a little task to do or a thought to share, ideas, something like that. And at the end of the 3 days, we will choose a participant from the 3 threads to win a reading from us here at the Sisters Enchanted. And that could look like tarot card reading, your moon sign, we'll give you some options. So you want to participate so you can be entered for that. Hey, Karen. Let's see here. Yes, this is my new kind of area. We're doing some work on our house, so it's still really messy in here, but got all my stuff together anyway. All right, Florida's in the house. Cool. So in today's email, you receive, and in your welcome email, but if you didn't get that, it was in today's email anyway, your emails might go to your junk and spam folder too. So always check there. They come from magic@thesistersenchanted.com, and yeah, that's usually where they go. But if you don't see it, or your promotions folder if you use Google. So I sent you out this cool printable all about the stuff we're going to talk about today. So the deep south of Mississippi, that is not near me. But thank you everybody we have people here from all around the world usually, which is pretty cool. All right, so the moon phases. Let's start with let's just dive in. I love talking about the moon. The moon, what's so amazing about the moon is not only do we use the moon in our woo-woo kind of witchy spiritual practices, whatever it speaks to you as, we do have people in here from all different walks of life and belief systems. And not everybody identifies as a witch, which is totally fine. So I always like to cover all the bases. But whatever kind of, belief system you follow, the moon in our spiritual world, there's a lot going on there, but scientifically, in the science world, our logical brain here, we also know that the moon is really important because it impacts water here on Earth. We are mostly water, right? The planet is mostly water, and that's why we actually scientifically have this connection to the moon, which is really cool. So it's more than just something that somebody made up one day. There is science behind it. And I love when science and our kind of nature spirituality intersect and make this cool thing. So I think that's awesome. And today is the beginning of a new lunar cycle. So lunar cycles, they run on about 28, 29 and a half days of a cycle. 29 is kind of like your average. And they start, they're kind of like our calendar months, right? But they don't start on the first of a month like ours do. Those are it's a man-made system, right? Our calendar months. And so before we had this man-made system, we would tell time by the moon and the sun, what was happening seasonally, the stars in the sky, and all of this cool stuff like that. So Chrissy says, even though it's a new moon, I feel like blah. Why is that? Actually, that's could vary person to person. I personally do not thrive at a new moon. New moon, I am just meh. I'm tired. I just want to sleep. Even my throat is just, I feel like I need just constant water or something. I am definitely more of a full moon person, personally. I am not. The new moon and I are not in sync personality wise. So anywho, Lindsay, where do I view the video? You should be on it if you're commenting. It's happening right now. Okay. So Melissa says more like our menstrual cycle, like the native cultures look at it. Yeah. So there's places all over the world where we can see that at the equinoxes, there's structures that were built, and only on the equinoxes would the sun go through the structure and make a beam of light through them. And that would have told when the seasons were turning or when we were moving into a new season. So that's where this idea of the Wheel of the Year comes from, the Celtic Wheel of the Year, which is also actually a man-made thing. We've assigned dates to all of these festivals and Sabbaths and whatnot, but we do see that people use the sun and the moon, right, for time tracking. And your menstrual cycle, can line up with the the moon phases as well, which is pretty cool. And we'll talk about that even more as we move forward. So today we'll do like a little astrology stuff here. So today is a new moon. Technically though, today is a dark moon. So you are going to hear these terms, dark moon and new moon. And even in the packet that I gave you, I only have the new moon in here. I don't talk about the new moon, or I don't talk about the dark moon. So the dark moon is something that we see more in, discussed more in like more witchcraft, witchy based type of books and followings and belief systems. When we look at astrologies, if your favorite astrologers, your horoscopes, those kinds of things, you are going to see talk about the new moon. So what are they and what's the difference? And why do I only have the new moon on here, not the dark moon? Well, I have the new moon on here, not the dark moon, because it is the most common way to reference this time period. So rather than making it completely difficult and confusing, I just write the new moon on here. But the dark moon is something that's honored and practiced by tons of people, specifically in this group, tons of people as well. And so the dark moon is actually the day of the new moon. So today, right now, it's a new moon, but it's technically the dark moon. So the dark moon is a day when there's no moon to be seen in the sky, not even a sliver of light, not even with like the brightest telescope are you going to see a sliver of light. It's nothing. It's just dark. Hence the dark moon. And so we hear all these things like today's a new moon. Well, it is, but it's also technically a dark moon. So the dark moon, if you are a person that follows kind of a witchy, a nature spirituality kind of background, the dark moon would be the day when you really do nothing. It's a day, and you'll hear varying opinions on this, and I'm not here to tell you which opinion is right or wrong. Definitely, you know, what resonates with you is what I want you to go with. But some people will tell you that a dark moon, you shouldn't do anything on a dark moon. You shouldn't try to manifest anything. You shouldn't set intentions. You shouldn't do anything because we're in an in-between place and it's like kind of going into a void. And so it's for naught. Some people will tell you that it's a good day to kind of go within, do divination, do some shadow work. Some people will tell you it's a day to just do nothing, just be. Just like allow yourself to be in that in-between and just kind of float through the day. So you're going to hear different opinions on it. Personally, I like the dark moon as a contemplative day. So if I am sitting down and I have time for some sort of like ritual work or reflection type of work, like I said, I am a mom of 2 small kids and a business owner, so free time comes sparingly in my life. But I would use the dark moon for me as really kind of a thoughtful time, like where I would sit down and maybe reflect on what am I doing to stand in my own way, and then what can I do about that tomorrow on the new moon to move past it. That's kind of what I use the dark moon for. So you're hearing probably all over the place that today is a new moon. That's not wrong, it's just different. So we hear the dark moon and the new moon for today. So those who follow the dark moon believe that there is a dark moon phase. Then tomorrow would be the new moon. And the new moon in that viewpoint is when there's the tiniest sliver of moon. So us here on Earth, we're still not going to see anything just looking up at the sky. It's still going to look dark to us. And some people, like if you have a telescope though, you'd be able to see this like a sliver of the moon. And that is the new moon for the people who follow the dark moon. Whatever one you follow, it's totally cool. And you're not going to like mess yourself up or hex yourself for life or like anything like that. If you do new moon intention setting at the dark moon, you know, you're not going to like screw it up. But just so you know, there are these 2 different thought patterns. So Stella says, so no intention setting tonight, wait until tomorrow. If you follow a dark moon practice, if you don't, you know, it's really going to be, like I said, you're not going to hurt anything by any means by doing that, because as you work through a lunar cycle, you're working with that intention every day of the lunar cycle. So it's not like if you set the intention today, it's just like gone. You're still going to think about it tomorrow, right? So that's where we have the dark moon versus the new moon, just so you know. So you're going to hear that today is a new moon in Taurus, and we hear all of this information about a new moon and what that has to do with our lives, right? So Taurus is an earth sign. There's this whole thing about Uranus moving into Taurus. There's all this stuff going on. You should check out, we posted a little about it in an email yesterday, and I talked a little bit about it in yesterday's live chat. Well, there's a lot of crazy astrology stuff happening, like today. right now. The moon is moving by this fixed star of like destruction and death. So it's kind of crazy. I'm not an astrologer. We do have two in-house astrologers, Anna and Nick. So I can only like, kind of repeat back what they tell me. But anywho, so today you hear the new moon is in Taurus, and that this next lunar cycle would then be about material things. Taurus is an earth sign. So like it would be a good time for setting intentions around abundance and finances. But if you follow the dark moon, new moon, then the new moon would be tomorrow, which is in Gemini. Gemini is an air sign. It's about your thoughts. It's moving quickly. So making sure that you are putting out into the world, like exactly what you want to put out into the world. So as kind of a moderate middle of the road person who's probably a little too much of a people pleaser, I would say look at that as like a mix of things, so make sure, because we do have this Taurus energy happening here that we're coming off of. So you could look at that and say, like, what do I want in my material world? And then how can I communicate that to the world? That's what I would do. A good middle of the road sort of thing for you. Let me see. I have some comments here. So Christy says, makes sense. I've been very reflective today, not knowing why. Hey there, Alicia. And Adelina, so the new moon today was at 7:48 a.m. Eastern time. So does that mean it's a dark moon for 24 hours? Yeah, so the moon phases, they don't run in like they don't exactly run at 24-hour clips like that. So you could look and see like what the peak of the time is tomorrow for visibility. Like, I don't know if it would be for visibility, but they don't run in exact 24-hour clips like that. I like the moon, the deluxe moon app, and you can use that and set your time zone, and it will tell you like where the moon is and what it's doing. But yeah, so they don't run in exact 24-hour time periods like that. I don't have a great answer for that, but it's not exactly 24 hours. So Lisa, I need to do an abundance spell. Would tonight or tomorrow night be better? It's up to you. So it's whatever you believe in. That's the thing about any kind of magic practice. If anybody tells you that there is a right answer, I would question them because it's going to come down to what you believe in. If you feel called and you're like, today is the day, tonight is the night, then go with it. If you're like, I think I'll wait till tomorrow, go with that. Because it's going to be whatever works best for you. So Alicia says, I'm being quiet and listening to the sounds of nature. Awesome. I love that. We're supposed to have like torrential rains today, but right now the sun is shining. So somebody messed up that forecast. I heard that like we're going to get these epic thunderstorms and stuff. I have my jars set outside to collect some thunder water because we don't really get thunder here that often. And there's sun shining. Okay, so that's the dark moon, new moon, which I don't have the dark moon on your printout here, but that's what's going on there. All right, so when we look at a lunar cycle, there are 8 phases, 9 if you count the dark moon. But we look at them it's the deluxe moon app. I think it does cost money. I think it's like $4 or $5, maybe $3, $3, $4 or $5, but it's really good. And I think you can actually maybe like type notes in it or something if you want to. I'm not 100% on that, but it's a really good comprehensive app. I definitely recommend it. I have it on my phone and also on my iPad, and it's super cool. Plays music too. Yep, deluxe moon, just like that. Okay, so the phases of the moon, we have, I'm sure there's free apps too out there. The deluxe moon, it's so good. It gives you all of this different information. Like, it's really thorough. Basically like having anything you could Google right in one place. So yeah. Okay. So the moon, we mostly know like the new moon and the full moon, right? So when we're moving from a new moon to a full moon, that is when the moon is waxing, which means it's growing. The moon's growing in the sky, which is why we start setting intentions at the first half of a lunar cycle. So the cycle is from a new moon all the way back till we get to another new moon again. And the full moon is the center of that cycle, like right in the middle of it. Some people will track a full moon to a full moon. You can do that too, but typically it's new moon to a new moon. So from new moon to a full moon, that's when the moon's growing. It's growing in the sky. From the full moon to back down to the beginning to a new moon again, it's waning. So it's starting to disappear again to our eye. It's still there, right? We just can't see it. So it's waning, which means it's shrinking, it's shrinking, it's shrinking back to black again. So this first half of the lunar cycle, from the new moon, which is like today, tomorrow, to a full moon, which is in about 2 weeks, we see the moon growing. It's getting bigger in the sky. And with that, we're going to grow an intention. We're going to grow what we want to have in the world around us. We can grow a change we want to make. We can grow something we're manifesting, a thought pattern we want to have. We can grow all of these things, just like the moon is growing. And then at the full moon, this is where there's another kind of controversy. We hear 2 things at the full moon. And what do I have on your sheet? I have move forward. Okay, so I do have both on here. So I have move forward with my intention, or accept it's not the right time and release it. So we hear a lot about full moon releasing. It's like this huge thing in the woo-woo spiritual world, to release at the full moon, which is cool, and you totally can. But the full moon, with all that energy in the sky, all that light shining down on you, it's also an amazing time to continue manifesting, right? We have all this light shining on us. Why not use that? And so at the full moon, you're going to hear 2 things. Most often, you're going to hear release at the full moon. Release attachment to things, release expectation, release guilt, resentments, release. But I say that you should release the things that are preventing you from manifesting, and keep manifesting the thing that you want. And manifesting is also kind of like a hot buzzword. Everybody talks about manifesting. But manifesting, praying for what you want, casting a spell for what you want, whatever you want to call it. You're bringing something. You want to bring something earthside, right? Or you want to change something in your life. So we have that at the full moon. So say that your thing that you're trying to bring into being is maybe you're trying to quit smoking. So we're going to quit smoking. We're going to grow this healthy habit, right? We're going to grow this, I'm a non-smoker. We're going to grow that. I'm a non-smoker, I'm a non-smoker, I'm a non-smoker. And then at the full moon, we're going to keep growing that. I'm a non-smoker. We're going to really lay into it. But we're also going to release the stuff around it. Like maybe like it's like a boredom thing, or it's like an anxious thing. Like you get anxious and you smoke or something. Like, so then we're going to release these other things that are preventing us from being the non-smoker. So we're still going to manifest it, but we're going to release the other stuff. And then we're going to release this and do the shadow work on the second half of the lunar cycle. So this whole first half, we're growing the light on the thing that you want. And then at the full moon, it's the perfect time to stand in that power and be like, I am this thing, or I have this thing. This thing is in my life. Even if it's not there yet, just see it, feel it, own it. But release the stuff that's not letting it actually be there, if there is something. And then keep releasing that on the second half of the lunar cycle. What you can also do is maybe in this 2-week time period, you've realized to yourself, oh, self, that's not exactly what I wanted. So maybe like not smoking is not a great example for that. But maybe like, this is one I use a lot. Maybe your example is, or the thing is around being just healthier in your body. Maybe you're like, okay, I really want to lose 20 pounds. So you set out that you're going to run every day. You're like, I'm going to run every day. Which I always say is set intentions that set yourself up for success, not failure. I am not a runner. If I was like, I'm going to run every day, I would fail at that intention immediately. I don't even think I can say the words with a straight face. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to exercise every day, and you get to the full moon and you're like, all right, I'm going to release that intention because it wasn't the right one for me. Really what I probably needed to do was like swap out some like pasta for some salad or something. Like maybe you're like, okay, so it was a food thing, maybe not an exercise thing. And then we can release that thing and say, it wasn't the right thing for right now. I dug into this a little bit more, and I'm just going to release it and set myself up for success at the new lunar cycle. So when we look at release at the full moon, release around the thing you're trying to bring into your life. I think when we lose sight of what it is that we're working on, and we just all of a sudden we're like, okay, now it's the full moon, release. And then you're like, oh, okay, so now I'm shifting gears, but I never followed through on the whole thing I focused on for the first 2 weeks of a lunar cycle. So use the full moon around both of those pieces, releasing and manifesting. So we have, let's see, Victoria let go of smoking in January. Awesome. Congratulations to you. Always love to hear that. So So that's kind of, so we have this lunar cycle, right? It is a cycle. And the first half is waxing, so it's growing, and the second half is waning, so it's disappearing again. The moon is getting, smaller in the sky. It's really not, but that's how it looks to us anyway. And so those are the two. You'll hear the new moon, the full moon. The moon is waxing, like a waxing crescent moon. That's when we see it and when it's growing. Or we'll have a waning crescent when we see it going the other way and it's going down back to nothing, right? But there's these other lunar cycles in between. So we start at the new moon or the dark moon, which we talked about. We move into the waxing crescent moon, which is when we can see that crescent in the sky. And then from there we move into the first quarter moon, which is when it's like a half in the sky. Sometimes you'll see the first quarter moon called the first quarter moon, and then the third quarter moon is when it's the other way, it's disappearing. But sometimes you'll hear the full moon as the second quarter moon. Like sometimes, not always, not typically, but sometimes you'll hear that. So awesome, you guys. Congratulations to all of you. My husband used to be a smoker, so I know that it's not an easy task by any means. So congratulations to each and every one of you. That's huge. So we have the first, so we move from the new moon, right, the dark moon, and then we move into this waxing crescent. So at the crescent moon is when we are going to take the intention that we set at the new moon, and we are going to spend some time really believing that this thing is going to happen into our life. So we can set the intention today or tomorrow, whatever works for you, or even the next day. Like if you miss it, just hop in and start. No need to wait. You can just get started wherever you are. So set your intention. And then at the waxing crescent moon, that's when we want to really spend some time seeing this thing happen if we can. Take some time to really, if your thing is for getting healthier, see yourself cooking these vegetables, picking them up at the grocery store, do some visualization, write it down, but repeat it as if it's already happening. Repeat the after effects of it happening, the results of it. Repeat it over and over again in your mind. That's what we're going to do at the waxing crescent moon. When we move into the first quarter moon, that is a real action-oriented time. So when we see that first half of the moon in the sky, like a half a pizza up there, I love pizza. I have a pizza in the sky. That's when we're going to take action. So whatever your intention you set for the lunar cycle, you want to take action under this first quarter moon. And you want to take action that's actually going to get you somewhere. So I like to use the example of searching for a job. If you are searching for a job and your intention this lunar cycle is to maybe apply to new jobs or something, get your resume out there or something like that. There is a difference, right, between searching Career Builder, which is a job search site here in the US. I don't know if it's everywhere, but searching Career Builder for 3 hours and just reading through job postings, that's not really action. It's kind of just lollygagging. But if you actually highlight some jobs that you're going to apply to, you apply to them, you write the cover letters to apply to them, that's taking action. So take real significant action at that first quarter moon. Real action, not kind of action. Take real action. Then we move into the waxing gibbous moon, which is when the moon's almost full, but there's just a little bit, it's wonky on one side. There's a little bit of a piece missing there. And that's when we're just gonna trust in the universe. All right, I took my action at the first quarter moon. The chips are gonna fall where they fall. I've done my best. I'm releasing expectation. When we hold on to expectation in any area of our life too tightly, even if you're not doing lunar work, if you expect something of somebody to behave a certain way or something like that, that's usually what sets us up for failure, right? When we expect a specific outcome and then we don't get it. So release that expectation and say, all right, I did my due diligence, I held my intention, I visualized it, I did something, I took action. You have to do something. I did something to make it happen for myself. I'm just going to take a breath before this full moon energy, and I'm going to trust that it's going to come in the way that it will. And then when we have this full moon, that's when we're going to double down on our manifesting, or we're going to release the stuff that's preventing it from coming in. So we trusted, we took a few days there and we're like, okay, the universe is going to do its thing. I'm good. I have no expectation. It will deliver in the way it's supposed to deliver. And then at the full moon, you can be like, all right, yes, let's keep going with this job thing. Or you can be like, oh, so maybe what I really needed to do was talk to my manager and just get a promotion where I already work. So I'm going to release this intention. You can like switch it up a little bit, whichever one feels great for you. And so that's where we're at the full moon, right? So we did our waxing gibbous and we just were like, I've done all this stuff and now I'm just gonna like let it flow a little bit. And then at the full moon, that's when our batteries like are charged back up again and we're diving into it. So thanks, Kelly, for saying that. And is it Kalina? I see your comment and I will get right back up to it. I'm gonna just go through the phases first. So we've had our full moon. When the full moon energy dissipates a little bit, that is when we are going to be into our disseminating moon. So the disseminating moon is also called the waning gibbous moon. So that like little wonky missing edge of the moon, that's all, like it's moving now. So we're back to that. It's going back down again. We're shrinking. And this is where we're going to be practice gratitude for anything that you have received in your intention setting. So even if you didn't receive your intention, if you were like, I'm setting an intention to manifest like $500 so that I can get some new tires or something like that, but you didn't get that. Maybe what you did was you got an extra shift at work. Maybe you got an overtime shift. Maybe like your refrigerator stopped working, which has nothing to do with your tires, but somebody like gave you a free refrigerator so you didn't have to buy one. Well, you didn't get your tires for your tires, but you didn't have to buy a fridge either. So be grateful for that. Like you did get, something. So there are, practice gratitude for however you've received something this lunar cycle. We're all receiving stuff. It's just a matter of seeing what we're receiving. For some people, that can be really hard too if it seems like you're just getting like pile of crap after pile of crap. And believe me, I've been there over the next few days. And if you stick around in this group long enough, you'll get to know my story. But I used to be, I was $20,000 in credit card debt, worked my butt off to pay every dime of it myself. I had that going for me. I made some very poor choices in college. Sometimes I wonder how I'm even alive. I suffered with anxiety, was on medications for that. And like, again, a lot of poor choices were made there. So, I'm not just like sitting here on my pedestal preaching something. I've been there. I hear you. So when you feel like life is just like crap, have this crap, have this crap, have this crap, sometimes it can be helpful to take a step back and be like, all right, what am I learning here? What is this teaching me? How is this making me stronger? And be grateful for that. And that can be so hard to do. Believe me, I know. But if you can take a minute and just say, all right, all of this crap is coming my way, but I am rising above. I am strong enough to handle it. I have clean water. I have something to eat. I have a bed to sleep in. I have somebody who loves me somewhere. Like, try to find the ways in which you're grateful. And that's what we're going to do at this disseminating moon, which, like I said, can be hard to hold that faith when you're like, I just really need this $500 for tires and I didn't get it. Practice gratitude for what you have, because it doesn't mean it's not coming. It doesn't mean that it will never come for you. It's just, maybe you got a lesson still to learn there. And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. Believe me, I know. This girl knows. So that's our disseminating moon. Then we're on that third quarter moon, which is we're back to half a pizza. And this is when we're going to give back to honor our abundance. So what we want to do here is give to somebody else if we can. You can even give to yourself. But the idea here is honoring your abundance, which, like I said, can be hard if you feel like you're not super abundant in something. But I promise you're abundant in something, even if it's just love for yourself. You're abundant in 2 feet to walk this earth with. You're abundant in earth outside. You're abundant in something, air to breathe. You are abundant in something. And give back in a way that makes sense. So this is a really good an example that I like to use here. When we give back to ourselves, a lot of us will give back to ourselves by means of like shopping or something, which is totally cool. I mean, if that's your thing, we all do that sometimes. But make sure you're giving back to really honor yourself. If your intention, or if you're working on money things, like I said, I was $20,000 in credit card debt. And then if I was honoring myself, if I was like, okay, I'm going to honor myself at the third quarter moon here by buying myself this t-shirt. That's not really on. That wouldn't have been honoring myself, right? Because I already had all this credit card debt. That's not actually honoring myself. What would have been honoring myself probably would have just been like going for a walk, taking a break from working the 2 jobs I was working to pay off that debt. That would have been honoring myself. So when you're honoring yourself at the third quarter moon, make sure you're honoring yourself in a way that's actually honoring yourself and how amazing you are. And if you want to honor somebody else, do the same thing. Bring them, you know, maybe a home cooked meal, or just listen to somebody chat, like, or go chat with somebody, you know, find an elderly neighbor or somebody who could really use just somebody to hang with, and do that. You know, we don't have to honor people by buying them things or doing things we really want to say no to, but that we're saying yes to. You don't need to do that, right? So give back at that third quarter moon. And then at the balsamic moon, which is our waning crescent moon, that is when we are going to reflect and rest and prepare for the next lunar cycle. So if we're always going, and we never take time to rest, what happens? We burn out. The same thing happens with intention setting with the moon, or working spells with the moon, or praying with the moon, or meditating with the moon, or whatever you want to call it. Anything you're doing following a lunar cycle, if you don't take a moment to rest, you're going to hit a wall eventually and burn out. And that's what we're going to do that at that balsamic moon, that waning crescent moon. Whew. So we just busted through a whole lunar cycle here. Let me just see what everybody's saying, and I'm just going to check our time here. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, 12:33. We're good. I have a babysitter till 1 o'clock. I can't push those limits. Let's see here. So Kalina wants to work on my anxiety not controlling me, but I'm not sure how to manifest that using the moon. So when you're manifesting using the moon, work in bite-sized pieces. So big giant goals are more solar things. They're more masculine, like these big huge things we want to accomplish, and nurturing that along the way, nurturing ourselves to accomplishing the solar goals. That's what we want to do with lunar cycles. So for something like manifesting your anxiety not controlling you, I would work on one little thing. So where is this impacting you? Is it like making it difficult for you to have a loving relationship? Is it making it difficult for you to sustain a job or to practice self-care? Like, where is it impacting you in your life? And pick one thing that you can work on right now, like really small, narrow it down, especially with something like anxiety, because that's such a huge thing, right? So for me, when I had anxiety, I was a sales representative for work, and I drove around a lot. And sometimes I would get to different calls or appointments I had, and I would just be in the car crying in hysterics, like a mess. And I just like couldn't get out of the car to go in. And it was horrible. And so for me, something that would have been helpful may have been working on, at that time, like a support tactic, like working on manifesting in a support ritual for myself, like something to hold on to, somebody to call, an affirmation to read, something like that, like something really small, because anxiety is really, really big. So Melissa says yoga has helped so much, especially with asthma, because it gets triggered with anxiety. Yeah, yoga is amazing. We have some really good yoga teachers here in the group. And if you are into Kundalini yoga, our friend Belinda, who's here in this group, she's been teaching that for 20 some odd years. She's great. Let's see here. So Chantel, my daughter and I decided this morning that our intention is to try a few yoga poses on my days off. I love that. And I love that you're doing it with your daughter. Yeah, if you have kids, totally get them in on the moon stuff. I mentioned this in yesterday's video, but the full moon for this cycle is also called the flower moon here in the northern hemisphere. I have to look. I forget what it is in the southern hemisphere. We do have a calendar. I think I had sent it out in the welcome email that has all the moon names on it. And the flower moon is really about doing new things. You think the flower, it blossoms, not knowing what's going to happen, right? It can be scary. It's underground, and it's going to grow. It doesn't know if it's going to survive or not, but it grows anyway. And so if you have little ones, it's a good time to tell them like that story of the flower. It grows anyway, even though it's a little scary, and shines its beauty out there for us, not knowing how it's going to end. But, we can do the same thing. Try something new and exciting, even if you don't know how it's going to end. So Nikki's currently on Amazon trying to find a cool cauldron light. inspired by mine. And I got this, my sister Anna, you guys, she is a health and beauty buyer and also a marketing person for a local chain of health food stores. Like, it's not a chain, there's only 2 of them now. It used to be 4 and 3, now there's 2. That's what the poor small businesses are going down. But anyway, they had them at her store. So I could ask Anna if she knows where she got it from. So Katie, can I repeat the last cycle of the moon before full? The last cycle, before the last cycle is the balsamic moon. Yeah, and then it would be new moon again. Nikki found it on Amazon. Let's see here. Yeah, Natasha loves Belinda. Yep, this video is going to be here in the group for you. And we will put it on, probably put it on YouTube too. I think Nikki's going to do that for us. So I'm going through a fresh breakup. Today makes it 1 week. I'm devastated, even though I chose to end the relationship for many reasons. Now I'm questioning if I made the right choice. I want to set intentions to heal my heart. A selfish part of me still wants her in my life, even if we're just friends. Yeah, well, that's tricky because you're only a week out, right? I would definitely let those emotions happen for sure. Let them happen. We never want to sweep emotions away. There's this whole thing in our woo-woo spiritual world to be love and light all the time and shine your light and move into the light and love. But if we don't, we are humans having a human experience. Period. End of discussion. We're humans having a human experience. So experience those hard emotions, feel them, let them work their course. So 1 week might be a little too soon to make choices, right? But, set the intention maybe to love yourself this lunar cycle. That's maybe what I would do. Do what you can to love on yourself and sock aside some, self-care time, to do things that you love to do, to make yourself feel like one whole person within yourself again. So I have horrific time 3 days before and 3 days after the full moon. I sleepwalk, but it's super horrific, and my PTSD is worse. So if you know that's what's a really cool thing about lunar tracking, which we're going to talk about also. If you know that about yourself, set yourself up for success around that. What can you do in terms of PTSD? I don't struggle with that. My mom actually does. And I know that, she has all different kinds of natural and some medications even that she uses. But if she knows that there's a time that she's really, max out on her capacity to take care of herself, she's got all these tools she goes to. So maybe set up parameters around that. So those are the days that are not great for you, that 6-day time period or that 1 week time period. Even so, what do you do then? Maybe that's when you prepare to, excuse me, my nose is a little stuffy. Maybe that's when you prepare to order takeout that 2 times that week, right? Or you make your meals ahead of time because you're not going to be up for it. Prepare for it and just schedule that into your being as much as you can, which I know is hard because we all have stuff to do, right? We have work and kids and spouses and loved ones and parents and all this stuff we got to take care of. But if you can, schedule in around that. So I'm an actress dreaming I can make a living acting and telling stories. My question is, I have my intention set, but what is there any other powers in between you and your intention? As in, after I audition, there's producers, directors, networks. Will this affect my intention? Or keep my intention and just trust it? Yeah, I would keep your intention. So if that you are an actress, that you're acting and telling your stories, I would have that be your big vision. That would be more of a solar goal to me because it's such a big thing. And then what can you do this lunar cycle to get you there? Maybe your intention is to make a connection with a producer this lunar cycle. Make it smaller. And then think about how it will feel once you have that connection. You're going to feel excited and elated. And you're going to be yes, look who I just got off the phone with. I will tell you the best success I ever had with manifesting anything was money. And I did only set the intention. It was just we did it just for fun. My sister and I were hey, we got nothing to do on a Friday night. Let's do a money spell. And it was for a small amount of money. But in my intention, like, I really was like, it was for $40, and I was like, I got $40, and I just like danced, and I was like, I'm gonna buy bubble tea for us, and we're gonna dance around your kitchen table and sing it and all this stuff. And I really, like, you know, did that, and I was super excited. And for like a whole like time period after that, I just danced around, I got $40, I got $40, and I ended up bringing in like tens of thousands of dollars in like a 3-month time period, completely unexpectedly. I kid you not. So, you know, I would like drill it down and then really be like, oh, I got off the phone with a producer, and get like super pumped about it. That's what I would do, just in my opinion. But do what works for you. So Elizabeth says, with organizing our house and working on our kitchen, I've been really happy with my husband, and I do really well with letting go of stuff we no longer want or need, setting up our home to be nicer looking and happier. This cycle, I'm focusing on getting our kitchen done and organized. I love that. And it sounds like you and I are in a similar place in life right now. You guys should see the disaster that I'm in right now. I'm in the process of becoming a DONA certified doula. Yesterday I was double guessing this was the correct decision at the time because of financial reasons. Last night I had a dream with my instructor and also the midwife that I am doing birth assistant work for. I took it as the universe telling me not to give up, and now I will set intention to find some sustainable income for the interim. I love that. Yeah. So, yeah, like, and figure out how much money you need exactly. And then for your first quarter taking action piece, you could look and see like where in your budget can you cut things out even, because we forget to do that when it comes to money, right? When we're like, okay, I need $600 for this thing. Well, what can you cut out for a month to make that happen? I know when I was paying off my huge credit card debt, that was a big thing I had to do. So Natasha, my intention is to bring in more paying students for my hubby's work. I've been doing it for a while. Any tips? I put a number on it, like maybe say 2 new students or 2 long-term students, and then look at how much money that's gonna make you. So like if you're in, I know that's like classes, I think, Natasha, so for your husband, so like how much, you know, like maybe they sign up for like a 3-month package or something like that. So like 3 students at a 3-month package or something, like maybe really make it specific, and then think about what you're doing at that first quarter moon phase to make it happen, and reflect back on that too. So Kimberly, I had a dream to supposed to become a doula. It's like amazing, amazing profession. Help on better health intention. So I would look at what it is around your health that you want to work on, because health is a huge thing, right? So is it like food related? Is it that, you know, you're on a medicate? Like my brother, he's a type 1 diabetic. So for him, that would look like making sure that he's consistently checking the things he's supposed to check. So if it's something like that, where it's like, you know, you have this health thing, what can you do to make it easier to manage? If it's like you just need to eat better or incorporate movement into your life, maybe find the perfect support system for you in your health journey. So that's kind of a big one, but like, what is the health thing that you're working on? And then like pick one of those little things to go with it. All right, so that's like how we're going to bring stuff in. There's also a guide in here, a page, a magic guide. So if you are a witchy woman, as you know I am, there's some things in here, suggestions for what you can do at the different moon phases. These are suggestions, and sorry, I'm so stuffy. My kids both have head colds, and I think hopefully it's not spreading to me. There are ideas here of what you can use the different moon phases for. The general idea, though, is always that we're bringing stuff in with the waxing moon. So if you want to do a spell for bringing something in, or you want to pray or meditate on it, that's going to be at that new moon to the full moon. We're bringing something in. And then we're going to banish stuff in the second half when the moon's going away again. It's disappearing. So that's the general rule of thumb. But when it comes to any kind of like, I see these like posts and questions a lot, like when should I do this spell or something? Like really when it feels good to you is when you should do it. If you're like, it feels good now, do it now. But there's a general rule of thumb guide here for you. So Kimberly, can you still charge your tools in a full moon even if the moon's not visible? Yes, for sure. Yep, totally. They don't have to be like outside or anything like that. You can. It always feels good. I love the summertime when it's warm out and I can go outside under a full moon, right? It's definitely a different vibe than when it's like 2 below zero and there's snow on the ground. where it's like downpouring rain, you can't see the moon. Those like clear summer nights, I love them. So there's also 2 trackers in here you can use. This one is for more of a linear type person. I don't use it, but I still include it in here in case you're linear. Basically, you can just go through the different, you'd start at a new moon and you can track either like your menstrual cycle, your emotions, you can track your intention. This is the more traditional one, like a wheel. And you would start at the new moon and you just, track around. So for each day of a lunar cycle, you can track like I said, your menstrual cycle. That's a great thing to track. If you aren't bleeding anymore for whatever reason, I have she was like a 3.5-year-old. She's almost 4, and I have a 1-year-old, and so I haven't had like a real long period of time with a cycle since 2000 and probably like early 2014. And I long-term extended breastfed my daughter too, so it's been some time since I really knew what my cycle was like. But it can still be helpful even if you're not bleeding. It can be, I think, extra helpful because you're still having hormonal like things happening, but you don't see them happening. So track still what's going on in your life, because you might see those trends that you don't even know are there, and then you're like, oh, this makes so much sense. You can track things like your cycle. You can track your emotions, your communication with people. So I'm a Sagittarius, and sometimes communication between me and others can be a little bit fiery. So like how you're communicating, if you're receptive to hearing other people, how you're speaking to other people, you can track that. You can track your cravings, food cravings, all of this stuff you can track. You can track anything you want. Or you can like just write like an affirmation on each little piece of the pie. But lunar tracking is really cool. If you've not done it, I highly recommend it. Let's see here. So Kimberly says, what about setting intentions during a lunar eclipse? Yeah, so a lot of people feel like that's even a more like a heightened time, a more powerful time for what you're doing. So yeah, you can totally, continue on with that. Jessica, my birthday's tomorrow. Anything special I should do during this new moon? This class has been so helpful. Oh, thanks for saying that. Sorry, my foot fell asleep. Ugh, I need to get a different chair to sit here. So you can set intentions for your year ahead, your whole year ahead for your birth year. That's what I would do. I would set a grand intention for the next year of my life for sure. Thursday, we're going to talk a little bit about moon signs. And what your moon sign is and what that has to do with anything. And what else was I was gonna have a tangent thought. Oh, some people feel like how we talk about like the moon being in different signs and stuff like that. Some people make the argument that has nothing to do with the like goddess magic work we do with the moon, because astrology is a really solar focused thing. It's a newer thing and more masculine, and that if you're doing goddess magic work with the moon, then it wouldn't matter what the sign is. It has nothing to do with it. So you will hear those two different things. My take on that is that I feel like it's all intertwined, right? Like the moon is up there with all these other planets. So I really I find it hard to separate out the moon from everything else that's happening. Just like I would find it hard to separate myself out from the moon, because it's all connected. We're all one thing. So you will hear those sometimes, just so you know. So Anita, what types of intentions are done at different moon phases? So Anita, I ran through the whole thing earlier in this chat. So I recommend watching it on the replay, and also in the printable for today, in today's email. It's in there. So somebody asked earlier that they didn't get the printable, but it was in the email I sent out today. And if you signed up, it should have landed in either your junk or your spam email. If you don't see it, you can find your moon sign if you look up like a free birth chart online. And just like your sun sign would be like, I'm a Sagittarius, but my moon sign, I'm an Aquarius moon. And you can find it on a birth chart. I like astrostyle.com. I like theirs, but you can find it there. Alien says I should get a yoga pillow or a kitty chair. I know, I need something. I used to sit on the floor. I just made like a whole new situation. And I like being higher up. So like, yeah. I have a kitchen stool I think I'll bring in here. So Kelly is a Scorpio sun, Aquarius moon, and Leo ascendant. That's a mix. I feel like that's like my response to everybody when it's like, wow, that's like you got a lot going on there. Like unless somebody's like all earth or something, which rarely happens, but otherwise, yeah, I'm yep. So I'm a fellow Aquarius moon up in here. My husband is too. And he's an Aries, makes for interesting times in our house. So that's it for today. So today we talked about the phases and some other good to know information for you. Let me just check on the time. Yeah, we're good on time. So if anybody has any last minute questions, I can answer for you. At 1 o'clock, my sitter leaves, so I gotta go rescue my children. But tomorrow we are going to talk more about intention setting. We're going to talk about what goes into intention setting and how to really like dive deep into an intention and more about solar goals. And then Thursday we're going to talk about creative rituals working with the moon, and we're also going to talk about the moon sign stuff. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. We'll see how it fits in. So what other things can I do during a new moon outdoors by myself or with my sister? You can set intentions. You can do divination work if you do anything like that, any kind of like psychic work. So the full moon and the new moon are both known as in-between times, where the veil is said to be thinner between our realm and other realms and other times and other existences and all this cool stuff. So if you want to do any kind of divination work, you can certainly do that at a dark moon, on a new moon. A dark moon, some people will say to do ancestral work at a dark moon when it's totally dark, right? And that's kind of the associations with death and dark, like non-existing things, and doing ancestral work around that. So and when we talk about ancestral work, that can be your actual ancestors. If you're like, hey, great grandma June, like I'm gonna, let's chat. You can do that. But ancestral could also mean like your larger lineage, like the women who've come before you, that suffered before you, that did the good fights so that you can be the free woman you are in 2018. You can look at ancestral work in that way too. It can be masculine ancestors. It doesn't have to be feminine, but that was just an example. But so it can be like a larger ancestral lineage too. It doesn't just have to be like great grandma June, like I said. It can be at large energy. Let's see here. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, so Pamela, that's a good question. My moon sign is a Taurus. Will this moon affect me greatly? Today you're in your moon sign. Tomorrow will be in Gemini, so you won't be anymore. So it's like when you're I'm Sagittarius. So in December, when it's my season, or like when does it start? November. Anyway, November, December, it's like my season, right? That's my thing. When the moon, which moves a lot faster than the sun, so it zips through the zodiac, is in Taurus, that is your thing. If you can find out what the phase was when you were born, and also your moon sign, and then if you find a moon in your phase in your moon sign, like that's a pretty cool connection to have. But yeah, so right now today we're in Taurus, so the moon is in your sign today. So if you're feeling a little extra like maybe like down to earth in your emotions, or like focused on your material world around you, it could be hitting home for you. Thanks for throwing that out there, Nikki. Yeah, Lizzie, watch on the replay. Andrea's got a cat. We have bear cats. I got 2 cats. We have one. Her name's Chloe, but everyone calls her Bear Cat. She's usually right by my side purring. She's not here today though. So Miranda, what if you don't know your ancestry? Yeah, like I said, it doesn't, like, you can focus on a larger ancestry, like the greater ancestry of all of us, right? My sister and I talk about this because my mom's young, her mom was young, they were both young moms, so my family's pretty young. My grandmother's she's still alive and vacationing with us and stuff. And I'm in my 30s and my grandma's like still driving around the country. But so we don't ever feel like a call to, we know our ancestry, but we don't feel a call to like our ancestors. So ancestral work for me looks like a larger thing. I like astrostyle.com. Astrostyle.com is what I like. But you can just Google free birth chart and find them. Yeah, check out the replay for sure. So Natasha, I don't understand my chart. Can I send you an email and maybe you could help me understand if I need to pay first? Yeah, Anna and Nick do astrology chart readings. Like they do birth chart readings. But I don't know what they're doing right now. Like sometimes they open them up at different times and they'll do like sun, moon, and rising sign, and then sometimes they'll do full ones. But you can email our email, or you can email Anna at thesistersenchanted.com and see what's going on with that. See what she's got open. On the line of Virgo and Leo. Yeah, that's an interesting thing when you're on the cusp. And so when we talk about being on the cusp, we're like, as we move through our incarnations here on the human plane, we're like progressing, right? So when we're on the cusp, if you're on the cusp of something, then in your younger years, you might be like more in the first thing, and then later in life, you might be more in the second thing, because you're supposed to be like moving through it. Yes, it is quiet here. Moonglow.com. You can find your moon phase. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Amber, is Sagittarius still included with when considering the Mayan calendar? So the Mayan calendar is a whole other like thing. You can even do like Mayan calendar divination and all this like cool stuff around the Mayan calendar. So yeah, it is a whole like different sort of like magical thing going on. Amberly has my moon in Sag and can't stop thinking about traveling and growing through education and experience. I bet. All right. I know, sun in my, as a Sagittarius, my like outward self is all that stuff, educating and traveling and experiencing and being outward. As a Sagittarius is. Yeah, all right. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to put the thread up for today so you can participate in that. And I think I will ask you to let us know what your intention might be for this lunar cycle. Easy peasy. And then what will it be tomorrow, though? I'll think of something clever for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're really going to talk about intention setting with the moon on like a deeper level. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll make something else up. But look for today's thread and I'll put it in the pin post of the group. All right. Hey, Amanda. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I hope you have an enchanted day ahead of you, and I will see you all tomorrow at noon, the same time here in the group. And check your email tomorrow for the printable for tomorrow too. All right. Bye.